Clemson fan. We've had a couple. This is now we're gonna have another kickoff to the season. A couple of years ago, we had the kickoff season. This year, we're gonna have the kickoff season against Clemson. And man, there's some pride there, and it's a rivalry that's renewed and stoked again. So we hear lots of hate from those three fan bases quite a bit.
Well, let's stay on that, Clint, because at the point that I grew up, that Clemson Georgia game was played every season.
Yes.
And then we got a taste of that about 10 or 12 years ago. Mark Richt, Dabo Sweeney playing back-to-back games, and they split those two games. Really good football games. And then a couple of years ago, you mentioned Georgia having not the defense this past season that they had, of course, that 21 standard. You know, Dabo Sweeney doesn't want to be reminded, but he's going to have to be reminded all off season and going to have to dig into the tape to see what they can possibly do against this Georgia defense. That game, of course, was a rock fight. It's funny how things change so quickly that JT Daniels was, of course, the leader of that unit. And then here they are, you know, 3 months later, winning a national championship with a different quarterback, the guy that everybody kept saying, yeah, not him, not him, not him, anybody but him. And he just kept coming back and coming back. And then DJ Oyangale is, of course, off to 3 different schools in the span of 3 seasons. So just very interesting. But again, it was that pick 6 that was the difference. It was a 10-3 game.
Yes.
And here we've got Clemson again. I think most college football observers would give Georgia a pretty strong nod here. I think they're probably a preseason 10 or 11 point favorite, something in that range.
Yep. Yeah. It started, I think 9.5 was the very opening line, and it's bumped up double digits. And for Clemson, it's just going to come down to their best players are on the second and third level on the defensive side of the ball. Their best players on the roster for Clemson are not on the offensive side this year. And Cade Klubnik is not a quarterback I would trust with my team going in. It's really funny. You could talk about talent, and you mentioned Georgia's quarterback quandary. Every single Georgia fan, don't tell me that you weren't this person, because we all were, did not want Stetson Bennett. And it's insane to me because Daniel and I talk all the time. He is the best college football player in Georgia history. He will go down. He won back-to-back national. In every college football game he played, he was the MVP. It's insane to say that out loud. If you take the name Stetson Bennett off that, you just put that out there, everybody say, well, of course, if he's an MVP of every game, he's the best player in 2 national championships. For Clemson, it's going to be interesting because I saw that point favorite and I was like, oh my gosh, no, that I don't like that. It makes me feel all sorts of ick. I saw the rock fight. I saw that pick 6. We were there in the stadium watching that game, and it was a slugfest. My gosh, those trenches were popping. We could hear it all the way up in the stands. Now we come to this year. I think Georgia does have a leg up. I think the defense has vastly improved for Georgia this year. Defensive back is, again, question mark. But Clemson just doesn't have the dudes on offense anymore. I don't think. I don't see wide receiver. Running back, they might have a dude coming back. He down the back half of the season did some pretty good, remarkable work. Average, I think he got like 600 yards in 4 games or something like that. So he's impressive. Linebacker, edge, DB, impressive for Clemson. But I think they're not going to score enough points. So if I'm going to give Georgia 14 points, it might be 14-3 again in this kind of opening season. That might be it. I anticipate it more like 21-10. And so, yeah, that point spread seems about right from what I'm thinking so far.